For weeks, Microsoft was leading the race to acquire TikTok's US operations. But now, Beijing has thrown up a roadblock.
ByteDance let us know today they would not be selling TikTok's US operations to Microsoft. We are confident our proposal would have been good for TikTok's users while protecting national security interests.
Forced to go in another direction, TikTok has forged a partnership with Silicon Valley giant Oracle. The cloud computing leader will handle the data of TikTok's US users. It comes after Washington threatened to ban the Chinese-owned firm from operating in the US, citing national security concerns. TikTok says it has 100 million American users, a base that's grown 800% since 2018.
We will firmly support relevant enterprises in safeguarding their legitimate rights and interests and resolutely defend international economic and trade rules.
Beijing has banned the export of technologies at the heart of the app's operations. So Oracle's deal with TikTok is expected to face intense scrutiny from the Chinese government.
There's a lot of different players within this story, not least the US government, the Chinese government, ByteDance, venture capitalists. So there's a lot of bodies at stake here.
And even if Chinese authorities give their okay, the deal will still need US approval. Washington has set a September the 20th deadline for TikTok to transfer its American operations to American hands. With time running out, the US Treasury says it's reviewing Oracle's proposal to make sure TikTok toes the line. Paolo Montesillo, TRT World.
Well, for more, let's bring in Pierluigi Paganini. He's a cybersecurity analyst who joins us from Rome and has been following the TikTok story closely for us. Welcome back to the program, Pierluigi. Now, the details of this deal haven't yet been released, but it's been described as a technical partnership rather than a takeover of TikTok's US operations. What does that mean exactly, and how could it change the way that TikTok is run in the US?
Well, from the user perspective, nothing will change, but the operation of the company could be severely impacted in terms of policies and on how the company manages the data of the US citizens.
Okay, so if TikTok's US operations are still essentially majority owned by ByteDance, the Chinese company, do you believe that the national security concerns that were raised by the Trump administration will still remain?
Sincerely speaking, no more than other apps. I believe that we are in the middle of an economic dispute between the US and China. TikTok is just one of the several applications that could be used to gather information on users, including their habits, their network contacts, and so on. Anyway, it is the only one. I'm more scared from the adoption of network equipment from untrusted companies.
Okay, we know India has banned more than 100 Chinese apps. Now, they've cited national security concerns as well, but we know geopolitics is also playing to their concerns as well. And the US has identified that it might even target other Chinese apps. Do they really pose a threat, as India and China have claimed?
I believe that in any case, it is essential to analyze every single application in order to understand the scope and the data they manage and the threat that they pose. Every application could be potentially used for cyber espionage purposes, especially social media ones.
Okay, and we know Microsoft has said that its bid was rejected. Oracle, therefore, has confirmed that a deal has been struck. The Trump administration is now looking into it. So even though that this deal apparently doesn't involve the full sale of TikTok's US operations, do you think the Trump administration will still approve it?
I believe that Trump will approve it in any way. It is interested to show the muscle and the power of US to the world. From a technical perspective, the only way that make this deal acceptable is that the US company that will make the deal will have the access to the source code of the application and will be able to understand which is the infrastructure that will be used to store the data of the US citizens.
Yeah, that's right. Now, you mentioned the source code because Chinese state media is reporting that any deal that's struck between ByteDance and a US company will not involve the ByteDance giving over its source code to the US firm. Do you believe that's realistic then in terms of easing those national security concerns?
From a technical point of view, there are two ways to analyze the source code. The first approach is to analyze the source code when the developer give it to the analyst. Another thing that they can do is to analyze the source code like a sort of black box. So it's a black box analysis, and they are able to understand if from this box something is going outside and where this information is transferred. So in any way, they must be analyzed in order to be approved.
Okay, Pierluigi Paganini, thank you so much for your analysis. Let's see what happens to this deal once it's reviewed by the Trump administration. Thank you.